Guys, our first topic of the day is brought to us by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs still in full swing every night, delivering highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel? Well, right now is the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So, OTAs begin today. The Browns back on the field. They cannot do any hitting things. They are just doing simply 7-on-7s, 10-on-10s, 11-on-11s, going through drills. And we want to start with the non-quarterback storylines. We all know the quarterback battle. That's the biggest storyline we'll all be watching as OTAs camp unfolds. But non-quarterback storylines.
Mike, we got to finish this argument. What are you doing?
That's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
Is that the thing you're looking most forward to seeing progress?
All right. I should have trusted you to get
absolutely
there.
Mason Graham and Mike Tall Jr.
Yeah, what you said.
I mean, there's no competition.
They should be together.
What are we going to learn now?
They should be together on the line. But what I'm saying is, you can't just put him in there right away.
Why not?
Because he got to learn stuff.
He's a defensive tackle. We're going to learn. Let's go.
No playbooks.
Get the hell out of here.
You either go right, you go left, or you go through somebody's chest.
You know what's crazy?
That's what you're going to do.
You know what's crazy is you a former D lineman saying that. That's
you don't know
crazy to me.
Bro, there's no playbook.
What do you mean there's no playbook?
It's only five. It's the same way there's no playbook.
Listen,
for corners.
Yes it is.
Hey,
yes it is.
You know why?
Yes it is.
Listen, corners only do so many things that corners don't even need to be in the huddle.
That's true.
They don't even need to be in the huddle. They be out there dancing, talking. It's only 5 things you can do.
Correct.
For a D lineman, it's less than that.
No.
Are you ripping left? Are you ripping right? Are you delivering hands on the run? Are you delivering hands on the pass? And it's Jim Schwartz. Get in the backfield. That's what we talking about. Get your ass back there.
Yeah.
Cause havoc.
See, listen.
Mike called 1 sack last year, by the way.
Yeah.
Really productive.
How many games did he play?
Well, you said he was a good, proven player in the NFL.
He played in 8 games, had 14 tackles, 1 sack, 6 quarterback hits.
Hey, he need to be
What you mean?
Hey,
what's wrong with that?
Hey,
what's wrong with that?
I need him to be playing immediately. I need some return on investment from last year.
The only argument for them not to be in the first team is if you want to say I don't want to hand them the job, they got to earn it.
Well, yeah, but
fine, but they better be by the time the season starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Maybe. Yes. 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 What I would say is you can't just throw if they jogging out there today, you just can't throw them with the ones right away. He got to learn stuff about the NFL.
What? No.
He got to learn some stuff.
Hey, let me ask you.
How many people?
Let me ask you a question.
That's the problem. We just be handing the jobs away.
Is Travis Hunter trotting out with the ones today? Yes, he is.
Yes.
He probably
they ain't got nobody.
Who was the number?
Neither did the Browns.
Who was the number 3 pick? Who's the number 3 pick? Let me just get you so we can figure this out. Who's 3 overall?
It's on you guys. I'm not giving you the answer to this.
Since when is he not giving the answers out?
Who picked third?
Yeah, who picked third?
He says he's not giving.
Mike doesn't know.
It was Abdul Carter. Come on, guys. I'm not.
Was it the offensive lineman?
Abdul Carter.
Okay. All right, you're right. Abdul Carter.
He might not.
Is he trotting out there?
He might not.
Yes, he is.
He might not.
Kayvon Thibodeau, sorry, bro.
Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, he might not.
Hey, come on, Kayvon Thibodeau, man. Listen.
What are you talking about? He just might not start.
He out there rotating in with the 2s right now. But listen,
all right, thank you.
No. I mean Kayvon Thibodeau.
No.
Let me tell you, well, we ain't got no Thibodeaus or Burns.
Is Ashton Genty starting today?
Yes.
Yeah, they ain't got nobody.
And we don't either. We got Malik Collins. Who's that?
First of all, I played with Malik in the Dallas. That dude, he got a bald head, so you better watch your mouth.
Hey, listen, man.
All right, people, NFL players that's got bald heads is like on a different level. Like, think about Leonard Fournette. Dude was in LSU with a bald head. Dude was crazy.
This dude is.
You think about Terrell Davis. You think about Adrian Peterson when he shaved his stuff. Like, dudes with bald heads, bro.
This guy is trying to sell me bald heads as a characteristic trait.
Yeah, by the way, did you just put Leonard Fournette in the same category with Terrell Davis and Adrian Peterson?
He did.
Yes, he did.
Wow, that's a little rough.
Wait, first of all,
Leonard Fournette
in 2017? was a beast.
Yeah, he was an average NFL running
He
back.
had like 1,600 yards.
But as a career, he was an
As a
average
rookie,
NFL running
boy,
back.
that's
Man,
fine.
but
You
we
gotta
back to
Playoff Lenny was real.
we back to these defensive tackles.
Yeah.
Listen,
All right, who we got?
here's the guys that you got on your roster as a Cleveland Browns. Aiden Huntington, not Aiden Hutchinson.
I don't know who that is.
Who does it? That sounds made up.
No, Aiden Huntington. There we go.
Nobody.
Never heard of it.
Ralph Holly.
Made up.
Are you serious right now?
They got Jawan Briggs,
Nobody.
Sam Kamara,
Nobody.
He all right.
Shelby Harris,
That's my boy.
Washed
yeah.
up vet.
the old as dirt,
Chill out.
Malik Collins.
Washed up
He a
vet.
beast.
Those are the guys that
That's
Mason,
it.
that's Mason Graham and Mike Hall got to be out.
If those two
Starters.
guys are not starters, it's a disgrace.
Starters,
no
Mike
excuse.
and Mason?
Yes.
off bet.
And I don't, unlike
If-
G,
but
I don't
listen,
care if
first
there's-
of
I don't
all-
care about today. I mean, when the season starts, those two better be starters.
First of all,
100%.
let's get something clear right now,
Yeah.
okay? It don't matter if they start or not. Defensive tackles only play like 2 or 3 plays before they
gosh,
rotate.
him
What?
and the Nuggets
They
and
don't?
stuff, man.
They
Go
don't?
ahead.
Wait a minute, G.
Go ahead.
It ain't a rotation on the D-line?
Go ahead, man. You do your thing, bro.
How many plays does a defensive tackle play before they get rotated out?
Only 2 or 3.
Thank you.
How many plays? What percentage of plays do the great defensive tackles?
All of them.
No, they don't.
They
not
get
all.
all of them.
Well,
Warren Sapp ain't coming off the field.
You're a liar.
Warren Sapp don't come off the field.
Mason Graham got drafted 4th overall. If he's not a Hall of Famer, he's a bust.
Listen, and to your guys'
Y'all need
point,
to
Steve,
cut
take
this
this
out.
graphic full here, but you talk about guys who were drafted in the top 5 in the last 15
Look at
years at the
this.
position.
Yeah.
Mason Graham is in this category based on where he was
All right,
drafted.
so Quinnen Williams, and forget the other
Quinnen
two. That was a
Williams
while
is
ago.
a beast.
Quinnen Williams, what percentage of plays did he play last year? Can you
I'll look it up
figure
one
that
second.
out? I'd like to know because Mason Graham better be playing the same percentage.
Man, look, this is my thing. Only in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Only in Cleveland do we minimize the amount of starts people get. We hear the same. I've been trying to
I got your number real quick if
I've
you
been
want to hear
trying
it.
to get McNuggets off the same point. He want to start Max Strus. He's 6'4". Now this dude want to tell me
What?
it don't matter. It don't matter who start. They rotating anyway. Well, if it don't matter, the bums can sit on the bench and my top guys will play.
The Browns are one of the worst teams in the league. What, they're so deep that these guys can't play?
Who
They're
Wait
so
a minute.
deep.
This
Wait
depth.
a minute. When have I ever said that they shouldn't play?
No, you didn't say that.
I
but
I've
like,
never said that.
I don't want them.
Start.
That's fine. They gonna play like 2 or
When
3
we were
plays
talking about
anyway.
Tyvis, we were just talking about other teams, and you said, "Well, they have to play. They have to play." Those teams are all better than the Browns.
Yeah, and they
Mike,
play.
what percentage of
No,
plays?
I was talking about the position, like
Well,
at the position.
Quinnen Williams, what percentage of plays did he play?
65% of defensive snaps last year. For
That's
the
it.
Browns. Now he missed 2 games, so
Glad
that's
we spent the 4th overall pick on a guy who's playing 2/3 of the defensive
I'm about to say,
plays.
so 2/3, so 2 or 3 plays. If that's about right.
Hey, bro, so
what are you talking
so
about?
here's what I'm telling y'all. This is why when you people want to, G. Bush is running around jumping up and down because they drafted a D tackle. Those guys are so important. They're so important. You don't want to start them. They're so important that you
said-
don't want to play them on
who
3rd down.
said that
They're
you don't
so
wanna start
important. You're telling me this is what you guys are saying. I'm not setting it up that way. Mason Graham better be a day 1 starter. Do not play around with me. A top 5 pick is not a rotational guy behind Jawan Briggs.
That's fine. That is fine.
Yeah.
Nobody's arguing
But
that.
it is-
Okay.
I've never
Quinnen Williams
argued that.
Okay.
Quinnen
so
Williams
right.
is
That's
one
what I said. I said
But
they're going to
Quinnen
rotate
Williams
anyway.
is one of the best defensive
Tackles
tackles
in the game.
So he better play 2/3 of the plays, and Mason Graham better be out there on pass rushing downs.
Yes.
I don't want him just there to stop the run.
Don't be
Well,
biased.
draft the guy 4th overall.
Hold
Yeah.
on now. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get that, Steve, because AB told me that we like Mason Graham's pass rush ability. Now,
better.
well, the thing about it is
They like their wide receiver room,
I
too.
watched Dane. I looked at Dane Brugler's weak strengths and weaknesses, and under weaknesses it said must develop a pass rush. So you right. He better have a pass rush come out there. First, 3rd, whatever. I don't care about any of that. He better have some sacks this season.
I'm sorry. I'm being completely unfair. I admit with my next comment.
Here we go.
And I hope I'm totally wrong. He don't look like a 4th overall pick in the draft.
Why? Because he threw up in practice?
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know he threw up in rookie?
No.
Did he?
Maybe I did and I forgot.
or a Boykin.
I mean, I threw up working out.
What do you mean he don't look like it? Did Aaron Donald look like it when he was drafted?
I don't remember.
Aaron Donald got a 6-pack.
Aaron Donald was
lineman.
extremely undersized for a
This
defensive
guy,
tackle.
he looks like just every other fat defensive lineman. That's just solid.
Listen,
in the NFL.
man,
I hope I'm wrong.
He played with his hands really well.
All right,
he got
good.
hands.
I play with my hands well too. What are some other bad?
Actually, the biggest story that
Yeah.
I wanted to see was actually in the linebackers room.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, the D tackles is important because it affects the linebackers. But you don't have JOK. Is Jordan Hicks still here?
Yeah.
We got Mascaris Arnold, Mascaris-Arnold.
Like I said,
whoever he is.
we haven't had any playmaking from our linebackers. They flew around a
Well,
couple of
JOK,
games.
since
He's gone.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen a lot of production from
Yeah.
the linebackers. Don't get me wrong, we had some games. Mahmoud Diabate had a game where he had a bunch of tackles and things like that. So it's there, but listen, we need something out of that group this
What
year.
are these shorts he's wearing? What is happening here?
Hey, man, listen, he's showing off them quads.
What the hell is going on with these shorts?
Short shorts.
What you
I don't
mean?
like that. It's
So
disturbing.
that right there, that look right there, I used to be against it, right?
Yeah.
When I was in Seattle, I was all long shorts. When
Yeah.
I got to San Francisco,
You went short shorts.
the receivers was wearing that. And I'm looking at them like, why are y'all wearing?
That looks weird,
Why are
man.
y'all wearing y'all short? Like they cut them. They literally
Yeah.
took the scissors and cut them like that.
These dudes
and
do-
I'm like, why y'all doing that?
It's
I
a
went out there
different-
and checked them. Marquise, all of them. They was so fast. That very next day, I went and cut my shorts. I said, you got to keep up. Yeah, you faster. You got to keep up with these
crazy.
cats.
Tyvus-
Yes.
Tyvus was
I
out
needed
here-
all that knee lift. I didn't need them shorts cutting my knee lift off. I got to be ready to go because these dudes is fast.
Hey, man, just because you got your hands like this as DB don't make you
We got
fast.
ready
God.
to roll.
It don't make
I'm talking about
it
knee
does
up
not
to the
it does
10.
not make you fast with the open palms. Y'all need to stop doing that. That's an illusion.
I went straight track 4. That track 4.
I will say, by the way, he ain't off the list too. Schlesinger, yeah, you starting too right now.
He better be.
They don't
Day
have
one.
nobody. They got who? What? Devin Bush should be the other guy,
My
or
cousin-
Jerome Baker?
my-
Excuse me.
my-
Go Bucks.
Hey,
Jerome
hey,
Baker.
This guy.
Don't do that.
This guy.
Hey. First of all, you go watch you don't even look at me like that. My boy Jerome Baker is cool.
Hey, we about
my
to.
God.
You got to beat Devin Bush and Jerome Baker out. You better be getting all the minutes.
What's that? Why you saying it like that?
That's just what the.
One was a
that's-
first round pick. The other was a third. I think he was a third round. pick.
This
And
one is
Schlesinger
second.
was the 33rd overall pick.
Yeah,
so.
he better be a starter
Devin Bush
too.
better
was
be
a
a
first
starter,
round pick. What?
And same thing with
He got to
Judkins.
He got to stay out the legal trouble. but-
Judkins got to be. I mean, he will be. But
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's a foregone
Here,
conclusion.
listen, Twinkle Toes. I'm sorry. Put him. Listen, I want Judkins need to be playing.
Yeah.
Samson need to be playing.
You done with Jerome?
Judkins needs to have 1,200 yards this year.
You done with Jerome?
8 touchdowns.
I was never with Jerome. We wasn't in the same camp. I was not endorsing Jerome Ford.
Wait a minute. What about the long runs he ripped off?
The biggest storyline in training camp is the play-by-play breakdown from the beat reporters there. That's the biggest.
That's the biggest story.
We need to know.
We need to know
Who looked good on a throw? Who looked bad on a
need to
throw?
be-
I got to go to one of these practices.
We need the update on who's got smaller hands, Kenny Pickett or Jimmy Haslam's grandkids.
We have Zach on Thursday, by the way.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's practice is open to the media.
Oh.
Zach will be there. He'll be with us on Thursday to give us some instant analysis to what he sees.
Oh, I'll
Breakdown
be
of the
there.
short shorts. And
This is what overall in general, and I want to get this together. Why we are a fan base without a country. We keep talking about how last year it was we're not competitive. We're not competitive. We need to compete. We need to get competitive. Now we got young guys that compete, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know. This is real competition."
Who said that?
They asked the same question. Stefanski was on his little run, and they said, "Are you guys really competing for all?" He said, "Listen, anybody that's on the field for the Cleveland Browns is competing for a job, a
As
role.
it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
If this is a season where you went 3-12, you're trying to figure out some stuff.
3-14.
3-14. There was no reason that you have all of these old dudes taking up roster spots. This is supposed to be a youth movement.
Yeah.
Harold Fanning Jr. is supposed to get. Look, I'm not trying to see no disrespectful to Shelby Harris. Yeah. But Shelby Harris is old as me out here trying to move around. No disrespect to some of the old veterans. If you're gonna play these young guys, give them an opportunity to play and see what they can do. Because I'm tired of going year after year after year trying to say, well, we don't know what we got. Why? You had a chance to play them.
That's right. They should all be playing. I don't want to.
My thing is, yeah, you're right. I agree. But the quarterback thing, you got to be a little more delicate. The rest of them, you can throw them in the fire.
Get them in there.
They either sink or swim. The quarterback thing, you got to treat that like.
Yeah, you don't want to put a quarterback in.
That's cool. Yeah.
My thing is, I tweeted out, why can't the Browns be the Jaguars of 2017? Why can't they be?
I'm starting to, you know what?
Because I sat there and I was watching this clip and it was saying like teams that flip things around in a year. And it was Jacksonville was terrible in 2016 and then 2017, that's when they made it all the way to the AFC Championship. And I'm just looking at it like, what did they do? Well, their defense was lights out. Okay, that's what the Browns is trying to sell us this year, is that the defense is going to be better. And they ran the ball well. Blake Bortles wasn't great. He was terrible. Everybody hated Blake Bortles. But yet they had Leonard Fournette. That's why I was able to tell you he had a good season. They had Leonard Fournette, and Leonard
Fournette had 1,040 yards.
That's like a crazy.
Excuse me.
By the way, there was no Joe Burrow. There was no Lamar Jackson. There was no Josh Allen.
All I'm saying is they were able to win games their way. It wasn't the sexy way of quarterbacks and bombs and things like that. They did it by playing great defense and being effective in the run.
Well,
to me, when you look at what the Browns did this offseason, that's pretty much what they're trying to do.
If they're going to have a surprise successful season, it's going to be with defense and running the ball, most likely.
But why don't you believe that they could be? Why can't they go 8-9?
Well, they can go 8-9. It's just unlikely. I live in reality.
Oh,
I could say any team could go 8-9.
I don't live in reality.
Well, if you think that's a likely result, then yes, I don't think you're living in reality. Anything's possible.
In the NFL, I just think so.
When the Browns go 8-9, I want a public apology.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of times when you look at the NFL season is a vacuum from season to season. There is no real carryover except if you got one or two quarterbacks that's just elite every single year. Say the Chiefs or something. Eagles is pretty good. But other than that, from year to year, it's a crapshoot. No one expected. If you would have said, hey, are the Bengals going to start off being bad last year? No. No one would have said that. Hey, look, the 49ers were a lot of people's picks to get back to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game. They were bad last year. It happens every single year. The problem is that the Cleveland Browns have been lumped in that mix more than everybody else. Like, yeah, those teams have 1 or 2 years, and it's a little bit of blip on the screen. They're like, listen, that was just an outlier year. For the Browns, they seem to have these all the time. But I will say this. It's not as if it's impossible for them to win 7 or 8 games. It's not crazy. Would I go into the season picking them to do that? No. But here's the thing. I think there's a couple of spots that prohibit them from doing that is at namely wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think they don't have the weapons out there to really put points on the board like that.
And honestly, if they win 7, 8 games, what does that mean? What does that do for you?
It makes me look into the future.
If one of the young quarterbacks is playing and they win 7 or 8 games, that's a big
different story.
That's a huge difference.
I don't even care about the record necessarily. If one of the young quarterbacks is playing really well, that's what I'm focused on, not necessarily the record.
So in a vacuum, this whole season is about having an answer at quarterback.
Yeah. Seeing if you have one or you still have to get one.
1 million.
And that's why.
If they go 0-17 or 17-0, the only thing we care about is if they have the answer at quarterback after the season.
Yes, because if you everything changes. The second that you get, like, think about this. You look at Drake May's numbers, right? Drake May wasn't. I mean, look. His numbers ain't crazy. He had like 2,700, 15 touchdowns, 10 picks, right?
He had 15-10. That's
15-10.
That is correct. 2,300 yards, 15 touchdowns.
That ain't nothing crazy.
But that ain't nothing wild. But you see how the outlook on the Patriots is much better than your outlook because they feel they got somebody.
Yeah.
And now when you go into next year, if you find somebody this year, you could go into next year and the ceiling is like this because now you got 2 picks.
That's right.
That you don't have to use on a quarterback.
When you have, and I don't think Drake May is in this category yet, but when you have, well, obviously he's not, but when you have a great quarterback, every year you have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not unrealistic. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I can go into every year thinking the Bengals have a shot to win the Super Bowl because of Joe Burrow.
Yes.
So
I got a shot. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not picking them to win the Super Bowl, but they could because of that guy. And that's how you go if the Bills have a chance every year. I know
Ravens every year.
So
Ravens.
What do you have
obviously the Chiefs.
What do y'all have to see out of these quarterbacks to make y'all feel like they don't need to draft one next year in the first round?
It's kind of weird because
what does that look like to y'all?
for a lot of people, it's going to be different. There's going to be a lot of people that is not going to like whoever it is at quarterback, and they're going to move the goalposts a lot. They'll look at games and be like, he threw for 300 empty stats. He threw for 255 and a touchdown. He's getting carried. He come from behind, get a game-winning touchdown. Defense gives up a field goal in the last seconds. He can't finish games in the fourth quarter. There's a small population that will do that. I think the most of us will know it when we see it.
That's right.
When they had Baker, he came in with that Jets game. Nobody in the city was saying, I don't care who you were. You could have been the biggest hater or the biggest shoulder rubber of Baker. You just knew, okay, that's it.
You could tell the team just was different.
Yeah,
the offense and everybody just played differently when he was the quarterback for some reason.
You never felt you was out of a game. Even if you was playing poorly, you never felt like it was the score was too big. The defense seems like they wanted to go get the ball back for him. Like, that's the type of stuff that you want to see.
So for you, it's not necessarily statistics.
No, you know me. I'm Mr. 4,500. I'm the one who keep it real.
I like going to play.
I like numbers. I'm the numbers guy.
Yeah.
But he might not. Whoever the quarterback
they're not going to get that.
Might not have. First of all, if he's throwing the ball that much,
they don't have a ton of weapons either.
They don't got weapons like that.
You got to be realistic in what is actually possible versus not. G's right. If we see it, we're going to know it.
You know it.
And you don't always know it.
No, you don't.
But you're going to get a good idea of whether or not.
No, you don't, because you'll have an idea if it's not there at all. But you're not going to. We're definitely not going to know for sure in 5 games.
But that's the scary part.
But my thing is,
go ahead.
I think you do to some degree know it when you see it, but
my thing,
some guys do take longer.
The whole thing scary to me.
Here you go. Talk to him.
Is you have to know, because let's say the Jaguars stink and they end up with the 1 or 2 pick.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Well,
do you really not take the quarterback?
The bottom line is, it depends who the quarterbacks are, how sure you are they're going to be great. Unless you're
1 or 2.
If you're not at the end of this year, if you're not sure about Shedeur and you're not sure about Dylan Gabriel, and you have the first pick, and next year the first overall pick, whoever that may be, seems to be a slam dunk, no-brainer, next great quarterback, you take him. It's that simple.
So it's a no-brainer if that's the case.
And my exact no-brainer is if you got these 2 dudes and Kenny Pickett and Flacco are not head and shoulders better than these 2 rookies, the no-brainer is you playing these young guys.
As well,
I would not. It does you no good. It's the dumbest thing in the world. If you, as a businessman, why would you sit there and say, okay, well, I got this asset over here. I at least need to know if this asset is going to work for me.
That's right.
And in that case, why did you wait? Think about it. If you were not sold on nobody, why would you waste a 3rd-round pick, a 5th-round pick, and not to and by the way, you traded the 2 6s to get to 5. Why would you trade those? Why would you pick those players and then waste them? You could have used that to build the team better. You could have got a receiver in the 3rd round. You could have got some other things and then just said, we're going to be terrible with Pickett and we want this quarterback. Why would you waste your assets like that?
When they traded that 5th for Kenny, was it this year's 5th?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
so to me, everybody should be wanting to see the young players play. You should, because at the end of the day, it gives you an idea of what you need to do. A, the city will be energized. B, and by the way, this right here is the real way you get out of the Deshaun Watson deal. It don't matter how much Deshaun Watson is making. if you got a 5th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick starting for you.
By the way, I saw a couple of crazy trade rumors. Don't know where either of them came from. Are you trying to whisper something to me, Mike?
Yeah.
No, I was talking to those two.
Oh, okay. Albert Breer mentioned that the Browns were interested in Chris Olave.
Go Bucks.
No chance to get. How are the Browns getting Chris Olave?
That was wild.
Somebody tell me what they're going to trade.
But-
You're not trading a 1st-round pick for him.
But he don't really be amping nobody up like that. Breer don't.
Oh.
Well, he said the Browns made a call. I'm
So
not
it must
saying
have
they
been
didn't.
true, right?
But what do you? If you're the Browns, you can't trade a 1st-round pick for him because you need that 1st-round pick. Because until you have a quarterback, you don't trade 1st-round picks for non-quarterbacks ever. Doesn't make any sense.
Do they have a 2 next year too?
They need all.
But you can't trade anything. You can't trade any first top picks until you're sure you have
I think
a
the
quarterback.
best they could trade is a 3rd-round pick and like Greg Newsome.
Honestly,
Why would New Orleans do that?
Why on earth would New Orleans want Greg Newsome?
0%.
they're because they gotta pay Chris, and
They got Chris under team control for 3 years if they want.
What year did he come into?
This is going to be his 4th year. He's got a 5th-year option. They could franchise him if they want. So they have 3 years control. Greg Newsome's going to be a free agent. He's an average guy. Why the hell would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. I'm not trading any draft picks for Chris Olave if you're the Browns. That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you get him for a 4th round pick. Okay, fine. But why would the Saints do that?
Yeah, it don't make no sense.
Because he got concussions.
Yeah, but he's still, for all that, he had a bad year last year because he was hurt. The 2 years before that, he played almost every game, and he played well. He's a good player. He's young.
Would you trade for him next year if you had a quarterback?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm with you, Bo. Until you get a quarterback, though, you can't.
Well,
be
I'm not using any high draft capital until I have a quarterback.
Well, before we move off that, I wanted to let you know you don't care. Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams is the cover of NCAA. Go Bucks.
Yeah, man.
I thought they had all the teams on there.
Why do you, bro? Why do you
cover?
You were supposed to be getting on NCAA, bro. You still doing that Madden stuff? You ain't learned by now.
I don't play Madden. The crazy thing is, bro, when you're a football player, for some odd reason, you don't play football video games.
Who says who?
Me.
Bro,
It's like all day you spend all day football. Then when you get some free time, boom, you gonna play the game.
I mean, is Cardell getting the game?
Were you playing MLB The Show?
I got it.